Something dark is happening behind Hollywood's glittering lights. A story that started with fame, music, and millions of followers has now turned into one of the most haunting mysteries we've ever seen in the world of entertainment. Because tonight, we're talking about the shocking investigation surrounding singer D4vd and the private investigator who claims he knows exactly who moved the Tesla where a young girl's body was found. Let that sink in for a second. A Tesla, owned by a rising star, abandoned near his Hollywood Hills rental home. And inside that car, a discovery so horrifying that it stopped the internet cold. And now, after weeks of silence and speculation, a private investigator, hired by the landlord of that same Hollywood mansion, has stepped forward. He says he's seen footage. He's reviewed surveillance. He knows who moved that Tesla and what really happened before the car was towed away. But here's the question that's haunting everyone right now. If he knows who moved the car, why hasn't anyone been arrested? And what does that mean for D4vd, the artist whose entire world has unraveled since that night? Grab your tea, because this one's dark, emotional, and deeply unsettling. It all began in early September, when workers at a Hollywood tow yard noticed something strange. A car, sleek, black, a Tesla, that had been sitting there for weeks, started emitting a foul odor. When police opened the trunk, they found the unthinkable. Human remains, later identified as 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a runaway who had vanished months earlier from Lake Elsinore. And that car? It was registered to singer D4vd, real name David Anthony Burke, the 20-year-old rising artist behind the viral hit Romantic Homicide. The connection sent shockwaves across the internet. Fans were horrified. How could something like this happen to a young girl connected to a rising celebrity in the middle of Hollywood? At first, police were careful with their words. They didn't name D4vd as a suspect. They didn't call him a person of interest. But the internet did what it always does. It started connecting dots. Screenshots of Discord messages, old live stream clips, and blurry photos began circulating online, suggesting that Celeste and D4vd might have known each other, maybe even more than that. And if that wasn't chilling enough, people pointed out something eerie. Both D4vd and Celeste had the same small shoe charm on their fingers. Coincidence or connection? The internet was split. But the deeper the story went, the darker it got. While police were busy collecting evidence and searching D4vd's Hollywood Hills rental, one man wasn't satisfied with waiting for answers. The landlord, who owned the $4 million home D4vd had been living in, decided to take matters into his own hands. He hired a private investigator, someone who could dig deeper than the LAPD, someone who could uncover what really happened inside that house. And that man's name was Steve Pfizer. Now, this isn't just any random PI. Steve's a former law enforcement investigator who's seen his fair share of disturbing cases. But even he says, this one is different. According to Steve, when police raided the property on September 17th, they forced entry while no one was home and never left a copy of the search warrant or an inventory list of what they took. That immediately raised red flags. What did they seize? Why wasn't the homeowner informed? And most importantly, what did the LAPD find inside that house? The landlord was desperate to know. He wanted answers. And he wasn't going to wait for the police to give them to him. So Steve Pfizer started his own investigation. And what he found could change everything. Steve says that one of the first things he did was track down surveillance footage from multiple houses around the neighborhood, and what he discovered was jaw-dropping. He claims he has video evidence showing the Tesla, the same car where Celeste's body was later found, being moved. Yes, moved. Not towed by police, not transported by a mechanic, but driven. Driven by someone. And here's the part that made everyone freeze. Steve says he knows who that person is. He's already handed that information over to the LAPD, but police, they're staying silent. They won't confirm it. They won't deny it. They simply say it's under investigation. So here's the question the internet is asking. If the private investigator knows who moved that Tesla, why hasn't that person been named? And is that person connected to D4vd? Steve says that when the Tesla was parked in its final location, the body was already inside. No evidence shows anyone moving Celeste afterward, which means the person who parked that car knew what was in it. And here's where things take a chilling turn. That Tesla, according to Steve, had been sitting untouched since late July, weeks before police discovered it. So what happened in late July? Why did the car suddenly stop being used? And what was D4vd doing at that exact time? Here's what's known. The same day the Tesla was parked, a tour bus pulled up outside the mansion, and D4vd left to start his tour. Coincidence or cover-up? Steve's investigation didn't stop there. When police searched the home, they took computers, electronics, and the home's DVR security system. That's normal procedure, right? Except here's the catch. Steve says the landlord never saw what was taken, and police never returned the warrant or the itemized list. So when Steve reached out to the home's security company, he learned something else disturbing. That system wasn't just a set of cameras. It was an advanced monitoring system with motion sensors, entry alerts, and digital timestamps of everyone entering or leaving the property. And right before the search warrant was executed, that system triggered a low power alert, meaning it was running and it was unplugged during the raid. That means it might have captured everything: the movements, the entries, the exits, maybe even the night that Tesla disappeared. The question now is, what was on that DVR? Did it show someone moving the Tesla? Did it show who entered the house while D4vd was away? Or did it capture something far more disturbing? Steve says he's seen footage from nearby homes too, and there's one consistent thread. The car didn't move again after it was parked. The house stayed quiet, and yet someone was still going inside. He says that between the Tesla being parked and the police raid, the Homeowners Association's private security reported activity in the house, even though D4vd was on tour. Only one key existed, so who had it? And was that the same person who moved the Tesla? Here's where things get eerie. Steve claims to have thousands of photos and videos from inside the house, many sent anonymously by people who were once in D4vd's circle. Some show parties, others quiet studio sessions, and a few show disturbing props that Steve says could indicate sadistic planning. He's careful with his words, but admits there are items suggesting someone had plans to get rid of Celeste's body differently, as if the Tesla was only a temporary spot. He calls it scary, sadistic stuff. And while he won't say more, he hints that timing went wrong, that whatever was planned to happen next didn't. This raises another haunting question. Was Celeste's death accidental, or the result of something much darker? Even Steve admits, when he first looked into it, he thought maybe it was a tragic overdose. But now, with the new evidence and the disturbing materials found, that theory seems less likely. He says there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. Here's where things get eerie. Steve claims to have thousands of photos and videos from inside the house, many sent anonymously by people who were once in D4vd's circle. Some show parties, others quiet studio sessions, and a few show disturbing props that Steve says could indicate sadistic planning. He's careful with his words, but admits there are items suggesting someone had plans to get rid of Celeste's body differently, as if the Tesla was only a temporary spot. He calls it scary, sadistic stuff. And while he won't say more, he hints that timing went wrong, that whatever was planned to happen next didn't. This raises another haunting question. Was Celeste's death accidental or the result of something much darker? Even Steve admits, when he first looked into it, he thought maybe it was a tragic overdose. But now, with the new evidence and the disturbing materials found, that theory seems less likely. He says, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. Since the discovery, D4vd has gone completely silent. No tour, no interviews, no music promotions, and not a single post on social media. His team, gone quiet too. Even his manager, the one who actually leased the Hollywood home, has reportedly disappeared from public view. And when TMZ tried to get answers, they hit a wall. The LAPD isn't commenting. The DA's office says no case has been filed yet. But privately, sources claim that detectives are in contact with the DA and toxicology results are pending, meaning a big move might be coming soon. Because, as the DA himself said, when and if that case is presented to our office, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know. That line, when and if, sent chills through the internet. It suggests something is coming. We just don't know what. Fans of D4vd are divided. Some say he's innocent, that he's being dragged into something horrific that he had no part in. Others believe he knows more than he's letting on. Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit have become battlegrounds for speculation. Users are posting theories, timestamps, comparing his old lyrics, and even analyzing his music videos, looking for hidden meanings. One viral post reads, "Romantic homicide hits different now. It feels like a confession." Another user wrote, "Why did he transfer his properties right after the Tesla was found? Who does that unless they're hiding something?" And one particularly haunting comment sums up the entire sentiment online. The silence is louder than a statement. Here's what Steve hinted at in his final remarks, and it changes everything. He believes that while D4vd may not have been the one who directly harmed Celeste, someone in his circle helped cover it up. He says there's only one key to that house. The same person who had that key is the one who had access to the Tesla. Think about that. Who had access to both? Who could move the car? Who could enter the house undetected while D4vd was on tour? Steve didn't name names, but he said he's confident the LAPD now has that information. And when he was asked if we should expect movement soon, his answer was simple. Yes, maybe be on the lookout for something soon. So the case isn't over, not even close. If anything, it's just beginning. Hollywood has always had its dark secrets. But this case, this one feels different. Because behind every viral headline and every shocking twist is a young girl who never got to grow up. Celeste Rivas Hernandez, 14 years old, a dreamer, and now a name that will haunt an entire industry until justice is done. Whether this was an accident, covered up in panic, or something more sinister, one thing is clear. Someone knows the truth. And sooner or later, that truth will come out.
So what do you think? Was this all a tragic mistake that spiraled out of control? Or are we looking at one of the most disturbing Hollywood cover-ups in years? Let me know your thoughts down below. I read every comment. Because in stories like this, the truth doesn't just vanish. It hides, waiting for someone to finally look hard enough. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the truth sounds like fiction until it's not.